very much. All right, before I sit down, actually, let's talk about this fun moment we are having right now. Yay, 2022! Nasdaq is down about 27%. Watch before you clap. Wait for what I'm about to say. SaaS valuations used to be 80x, 50x. Today, below 10x. Yay! Capital is dearer, the hurdle rate is higher. Welcome, emerging fund manager. Raise some capital. Hey! Well, so welcome to this great panic of 2022. And to ride our individual troubled ships over these troubled waters, we've got some divine intervention with these two ladies. I'm going to paint the entire picture for you. But first, I'm going to start with the foreground. You're going to see the play on words here. Really smart by me. So this woman, there's not a single list that talks about great investors, great powerful women, women in business or finance that she has not conquered. Obviously, I'm talking about Forerunner Ventures, managing partner, founder, Kirsten Green, who is right here with us. And today, her firm manages about $2.3 billion in July, right? You're going to celebrate 10 years? Yes, 10 years in the business. All right, so that's Kirsten Green. No introduction necessary. We all know her, a baller woman. We love her. Thank you for being here. Alongside her, the background of this beautiful picture will be done by someone, again, who needs no introduction. Over the last 2 to 3 years, I believe there'll be hardly a single media outlet, a podcast, a digital publication, or a television news network that has not reached out to her. Arlan Hamilton is a brand in and of herself. And Backstage Capital makes its bread and butter or hangs its hat on investing in exceptionally underestimated people. I believe a lot of women in this room can identify with that feeling, and she's the woman who funds those dreams and ambitions. So Arlan, thank you so much for being here. All right. Now that we have these introductions out of the way, let me tell you what I did. So yesterday, as I was quietly observing you guys in the background, I was trying to come up and think about what would be the most interesting, most important tactical skill you guys can walk away with from here. So I did a quick straw poll with a lot of the male GPs that I know, and they were like, listen, if I was in that room, the one thing that I would like to know from these baller women like Arlan and Kirsten Green is how did they create this brand for themselves? Today, whenever anyone thinks about doing anything with the consumer, they think about Forerunner Ventures. Anyone, anywhere, when they think about having something inclusive in their life, either as an investment or as a business idea or as a marketplace, they think about Arlan Hamilton and Backstage Capital. These women have excelled at differentiating themselves and pitching themselves to all of their stakeholders. So let's start with the both of you on giving our audience right now the right ideas, the tools to think about creating a brand of themselves that is differentiated from everyone else. Because everyone has a fund these days, right? Everyone has a fund, right?
Not everyone has a $2.3 billion fund.
Not everyone has a $2.3 billion fund. Great point, Arlan. Let's start with you, Kirsten. How should women think about it?
I was so hoping it was going to Arlan first. Follow you and your amazing energy. Thank you for that.
See, there is fun in fun. Let's think about that.
Okay. I'll answer. Well, first of all, it's really nice to be here today and so inspiring to see so many amazing female investors in the room together. So I hope that everyone's getting a lot out of the day together. So I'm going to tell my brand story, but I'm going to tie it to kind of my philosophy or sort of how I started Forerunner, which was I was an outsider coming into this industry. I was really excited about all the opportunity. I had a clear view on how I wanted to participate, but nobody knew me, and I really sort of felt like I didn't know if I had a right to be here. I wanted to build some presence and some notoriety, or some reason that people would say like, oh, call Forerunner, call Kirsten. She knows about X, Y, and Z.
Right, but I guess as a first time fund manager, an emerging fund manager, I think the key lesson that I'm taking away from what you're saying right now is develop a point of view. Have a point of view that you're going to go to market with, no matter who that market is. It could be a market of startups, I believe, or LPs, whoever it is that you're pitching. That's a different story from yours, Arlan, right?
Slightly.
It almost felt like this point of view was thrust upon you of diversity and inclusion.
I think I observed it like a lot of people did, and I think that I know that there are so many people before me in this space before I even knew what venture capital was, and they were black and brown, they were women, but they probably, like, I could come into this. Can you put your voice out into the world?
1000%. Preach. I'm in this business. I have been on the other side. I curate the best in this industry. I curate the best people who have a great point of view and invest in thesis. But just think about it. How do you think people find each other these days? Through social media. How do you think you are getting your deal flow? How do you think you're getting the name recognition that your peers in VC land or LP land or whatever land have today? That is thanks to the power of social media. But I think, Arlan, you hit upon an absolute key point. It's a two-headed monster almost, right? We all have to learn how to be vulnerable to be able to tell our stories. And once it's out there, the most scary part is that you have no control over it. Zero control over it. And then you just have to breathe through the anxiety that we all feel, the imposter syndrome, or whatever it is that you're struggling with. You just have to deal with it. But that's a two-sided monster we all deal with. Talking about another monster, let's talk about this fun little
Can I
fact.
say one thing on that?
Yeah.
Real briefly, just to kind of build on it, which is, I mean, so I am not on social media. I'm actually really shy and nervous. Same thing with dual sourcing. You don't have to know everybody, but you do have to know a few people and have those people willing to speak highly of you. Good people know other good people, and you can build it that way too. But again, in that framework, you do need to do something that stands out in the crowd. So some way that you're going to leave your mark is different.
All right, let me ask about this potentially controversial issue. I see a lot of people on social media or like elsewhere take this victory lap, right? Once they win a deal, GPs will take a victory lap, talk about their deals and what they have done. Is that gauche in this atmosphere, or is that still okay? Where do we go from here in this like changing landscape? Everything is decentralized. Where are we now? What do you think the next 2 years will be?
It is really gauche.
It is, right?
But at the same time, like, your portfolio companies want to get the news out, they're excited, and they want you to support them. So we do it because we want to be supportive. We don't want to do it because we're like, hey, look at us, we funded another great company.
Yeah.
We want to put the spotlight on them, and we try to think about that with what we say about the post, and keep it focused on the business, keep it focused on the founder, not on the money.
I'm gonna come to the superpower of a small fund because I kind of want to get your takes on that. But let's pivot a little bit now, as I promised, to the challenges of raising a fund, right? It's always challenging no matter what the atmosphere is in the markets, and now particularly so. There's one argument to be made that the next 18 months are going to be brilliant to find good companies, smart operators at good value. But then there's the other side of the equation, the LPs, who probably have so much indigestion from everything that happened fast and furious over the last 2 years that they might be a little bit, hesitant or reluctant to give money to first-time or emerging fund managers. So when you're pitching, when your audience is the LP, how do you do that in the best way possible? And Kirsten, from you, I would like to know, what was the stickiest situation you were in with an LP, or maybe like an LP pitch failure, and what you learned from that? Because I never learned anything from anyone's success stories. Tell me about your failures and I'll write a book.
I mean, whether you're a fund manager or you're an entrepreneur raising for your business, actually as a fund manager, you are an entrepreneur, there's always more no's than there are yeses. In terms of like, does this investor invest in funds of this size? Does this investor invest in managers that are first time or second time or third time in that emerging bucket? Do they like specialty focused funds? Do they like, kind of multidisciplinary funds? So really try to understand like who the audience is that is going to be the right fit for your fund, and focus in on a list there, and then be open to taking all of those conversations.
Now tell me any specific incident that comes to your mind, if at all, where they said no and you got an answer as to why they said no to you in a fundraising process from an LP, and what you took away from it.
How I could flip those into an advantage. And sometimes sometimes how I could just say, yeah, that's true. Nothing's perfect. This is going to be a challenge. We're going to work through it and seize it.
And talk about creativity. You broke the mold, Arlan. You sold shares in your firm to raise money on the one side, stroke of genius, and on the flip side, give people who are non-accredited investors, regular people, the ability to gain in the upside of your firm and get that window into venture capital. So tell me how you flipped the thought process of like, all right, it's taken me 7 years and I've only raised $30 million, something's wrong, need to turn around, not look at the LPs, but look at the retail guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm big on crowd, and we will push even further into crowd community. You could also do a Reg A+ if we want to, and raise 15 million to 75 million. If we ever want to do that, we can raise that 5 million every single year, and it just it seeming, takes that pressure off, and I don't like those rules and regulations, so going to retail investors is just very exciting to me.
I mean, that's incredible.
So that's raising money to fund the operation.
So the management entity, yes, so like, yes.
Arlan, half of this room is full of LPs. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
I
I mean, I'm just saying, just like pitch it right now.
Yeah.
What are you guys waiting for?
Yeah, I mean, we're raising right now, and we're raising on a 506c, so we can talk about it.
Fascinating. Tell me this, from your vantage point right now, are there more opportunities than capital?
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, I'm still getting over that Backstage is Kirsten's management fee. But I mean, it's how inspiring is that though? I mean, that's like the coolest thing, because it's like when you get on a run, and the way you were able to do it, let's be honest, the way you were able to do that, people are asking this, everybody's asking themselves that, they're just not saying it. The way you were able to do it is you had a thesis, you stuck to it, you were sharp, razor focused, and then those companies started to do well. It was
Have to have the companies.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding. 200 companies in, what exactly are you looking for when it comes to traction?
Fascinating. Let me flip that over to you now. With a $1 billion fund, at some point in this raising cycle, you would have had to signal to your LPs that, hey, guess what? I'm actually building a generational brand here. Like, this is an actual company that we're creating for the long haul. We're investing in, the dreamers, the entrepreneurs. So as you look at the next 10 years or the next 15 years, you have this like amazing viewpoint of where are the next most exciting technologies? Where am I making my next bets? Given all the capital that you currently have, where are you seeing the most opportunity to deploy it?
I think at every fundraise cycle, and even every year, like, we reevaluate, like, where do we think the biggest near-term and longer-term opportunities are, and where do we think we're best positioned to make educated, high-conviction investments. It's been a series of things that are connected to each other, and we've plotted it that way.
All right, so let's get a little specific right now. We know that public company valuations, especially in the D2C space, have cratered. A lot of companies perhaps are going to be potential acquisition targets. That does not leave the private world untouched, right? Obviously, the private world is shaking. A very prolific investor today, Brad Gerstner, you all should look him up, at Capital. He said that all growth company investors have had their face eaten off, and they have made mistakes too. It's been rough out there, people. So in this moment of really battered and bruised consumer-focused companies, when you look at the world of opportunity in the private markets, what's the next leg of growth that you're looking at? For instance, are you looking at an entrepreneur or a startup or a company that's saying that, hey, I've actually figured out the next best way of making content in the metaverse that you can use to sell, whatever, Lululemon pants, I don't know. But let's get granular about your thesis at this point. How do you take what you're seeing right now and marry it to the technology trends of the next 10 years to be able to make decisions today?
Okay, there's a lot in that question.
We shall unpack.
That last part is a little bit about just regular thesis building in the ordinary course of time, and the first part was like all the dynamics in the market. So maybe I'll try to answer them separately, but tie them together. I think right now we're spending time on research. We're spending time looking at our existing portfolio and really thinking a lot about where do we want to take an opportunity to support those companies and potentially increase our exposure to those businesses, and anticipating where are we going to have some hard conversations, because if the funding market is more concentrated around fewer ideas, that's going to be hard for some of the companies. So that deserves some forward thinking as well. And those are less fun things to think about than the future. And then we go back to the research and think about those things.
Yeah, it's a hard balance. It's a hard balance. VC world is hard. And I see we have, I just want to spend two minutes talking about fund structure, 2 quick questions. And I want to have the audience ask you a few questions too, if we have the time. As a small fund, how do you make decisions about when to take money off the table? You know, how does one approach that decision?
Off of our table or someone else's table for this
You would want it from someone else's table. That's a great question.
Always game to take it off someone else's.
Do you mean, how do we say that a different way?
Say for instance, you made a pre-seed or seed investment and now the company is ready for a Series C investment. Do you sell in secondary as a small fund because you want to take some, money back and, distribute it? How do you think about that?
Yeah, I look forward to the days when we get to have those kind of decisions that we can make. I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
We haven't been investing in pre-seed and seed since day one. And
Got it. We're going to play a quick game, 30 seconds, I promise. No pain at all, right? Both mics up. It's going to be rapid fire. Just pick one, right? Don't even look at
That's
this.
not my favorite. Okay.
No. This is not about the shoes. Nothing fun here. It's all. By the way, just side note, nothing to do with the conference. I'm obsessed with her shoes. I just cannot get over her shoes. All right, rapid fire question. Just pick one of the 2, right? Next 18 months, what's your focus on? Top line growth or profits for your portfolio companies? What are you looking at?
Balance. Sorry, not to be ignorant, but balance. I mean, I had a founder ask me the other day, he's like, should I just stop spending all my money in the market? I said, no way, we just raised a $55 million Series B. You have a mandate to build a business. You need to execute to the plan you have this year. You need to staff up and spend, give yourself a chance to meet that. You then need to be able to step back and take stock and say, did we meet our goals? What did we learn? Do we feel more ambitious about our business or should we pull back a little bit? And then I think you need to keep an ability to be nimble. You can't just go hunker down, but you also don't be free willing because it's different,
One word.
my answer is top line because early stage, but don't become, have a real company. What would fit in?
Biggest no-no in a pitch. Like, lady.
Oh, we don't have competition.
Well done.
If Serena Williams has competition, we all have competition.
Write it down. Print a t-shirt. Or a purple hoodie.
I'm saying +1, darling.
Oh, +1.
A lot of
Sneaky.
All right. We all knew we don't have competition.
Got it. And the very final thing, actually, I want to know. I kind of stole this from a podcast that I listened to, but I think it's immensely helpful and will all give us a little bit of perspective as we walk away from here. Kirsten Green, what's the kindest thing anyone has ever done for you?
The kindest thing anyone has ever done for me?
Yes.
My husband supports me in being all in on my business the way I want it to be, and that's meant a lot. I could not have done this without having a supportive partner.
Amen.
Well, Anna, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say my wife, but she knows how I feel about her.
Amen. That's the power of community, guys. And the kindest thing that anyone, or rather, the kindest thing that has been done for all of us over here is the Bridge. SF and the 2 ladies, Sophia and Emma, who have brought us all together, and their amazing algorithmic matching process, which will allow all of your wonderful GPs to meet some wonderful LPs, and brought Kirsten Green and Arlan Hamilton right here. Thank you so much, you guys.
This was just wow.